The bodies were sent to Campbell County and were interred yesterday afternoon in the family burying ground of the Kitts family beside their mother, who has been dead a number of years. The scene of the murder is in the rugged portion of Union County. It's on Powell's River, where a large number of logmen are employed. It was the year 1899, and two boys by the name of Kitts, Arthur Kitts and his brother Reason, were brutally murdered in Union County, Tennessee. It's very difficult to do research from newspaper articles from back then because they were very much like tabloids, and they would just ask neighbors or any random person questions about the events that occurred, and sometimes the names or ages would be incorrect. So this story in particular was very difficult to research, but I think I have figured out the details as well as solved the case as to where the murderer of these boys actually wound up hiding and living the rest of his life without being charged with this murder or these murders. So while I'm giving you a tour of the Kitts family cemetery, where these boys were said to be buried, I will get into the story. There are no headstones with the names Arthur or Reason Kitts. I imagine that these boys are some of these stones simply marked unknown. Them as well as the mother they were said to be buried beside, and possibly their father as well. So I imagine that some of these unknown graves are those of this particular Kitts family. And this is the Kitts Family Cemetery in Campbell County, Tennessee, in the Pleasant Ridge community. So rather than telling this story as factual, I'm just going to share my research with you and my guesses and assumptions. And if anyone would like to do more research, they can do so. I did not pull any court records or anything like that. This is just based on newspaper articles and some various trees I found online and a couple of census records, things like that. So, I do not know who Arthur and Reason Kitts belong to. I'm thinking that they were part of the Kitts family that came to Campbell County from Granger County, Tennessee. But I can't figure out who their parents were. One of the newspaper articles called them orphans. They were around 18 and 23 years old at the time of this shooting. And they were working in the Wellsprings community as farmhands. Apparently there were a lot of farms in the Wellsprings and Union County area back then, and they were working, making a living there. Keep in mind, like I said before, these newspaper articles were very much like tabloids, and they would just go and ask people, random people, questions about what they knew about the incident and so forth, and they would publish whatever they were told. The original articles that I found, and I'm going to put these up and share them, the original articles that I found talk about Arthur and Reason Kitts. One of them referred to them as orphans, but in another article that states that they were 18 and 23 years old at the time, that may or may not be accurate ages. I find that those are off oftentimes too. But they were working in the Wellsprings area. Apparently there were a lot of opportunities for work on all the farms that were in the Wellsprings area. And you're near the Union County, Claiborne County, and Campbell County lines there. In 1899 there was no lake, so you just had the Powell's River and a lot of farmland. And the original few articles, they named the killer as a man by the name of William Osborne. It said that the Kitts boys, they were working on various farms, and they created this enemy in Osborne because they had taken a job from him. And one afternoon they were finishing up work, and they were walking down a road in Wells Springs Road, and they were completely unaware that they were in any immediate danger. They weren't aware that they were being watched and followed by their said enemy when he jumps out with a shotgun and shoots both of the boys. Reason, the oldest brother, he immediately died of shotgun wounds. And Arthur, it said in the newspaper articles, he was still alive when one of the neighbors who heard the shots came and carried the boys off to one of the nearby homes. And he talked to Arthur, and Arthur explained to him who he saw do the shooting and the reason that Osborne had done the shooting. And then he later passed away, and the article states that the boys were, their bodies were taken to Campbell County to the Kitts family cemetery, and they were buried beside their mother. And as you saw by my previous footage, they don't have any markers unless it's the ones that are marked as unknown, unfortunately. But what I find interesting about this story is that 2 years later, in 1901, there was a few articles published that the governor was offering a reward for the capture of the murderer of Reason Kids. Now, like I said in the previous articles, the murderer was named as William Osborne, and it also stated that he fled to the Cumberland Mountains and he couldn't be found. Nobody could find him. But this later article, it names two individuals, and their names were Hughes and Huey Osmus. Now, if you know the people in this area and our speech, the way we talk sometimes, I can understand someone saying Osmus and it sounding like Osborne, which is a possibility. Someone, named, hey, it was William Osborne when in fact it was William Osmus. So I done some digging, and like I said, I've not went and got any of the court records or anything like that. So you guys are more than welcome to research this story. If you find anything else, more than I've included in here, share it with me, please. But I've researched census records, newspaper articles, and some various family trees. That's where I got all the information that I'm putting in this video. But I did find a Hughes, H-U-S-E, and Huey Osmus. And it seems that they were born in Claiborne County, Tennessee. And sometime after this murder happened, they were no longer living in Campbell County, Tennessee. They actually wound up in Wyoming and Iowa. So it appears that they were the assailants that the governor had a reward for, and they just went on and lived out their lives in Iowa and Wyoming. So the one that the article refers to as Hughes, H-U-S-E, his name was actually William Houston Osmus, and he was born in 1856. And he passed away in 1949 in Iowa, and his remains were brought to Knox County, Kentucky, where he is buried. And Huey is his son. His name was William Hugh Osmus, and he was born in 1879, and he passed away in 1938 in Wyoming, and that's where he's buried. So if the governor still has a reward for the whereabouts of the Osmus boys who were responsible for this murder, I would like to collect that, of course, with inflation and things like that, because the reward was $100 in 1901. So with 121 years of inflation, I would imagine it would be more than that. But anyway, I'll share the locations of their burials, and I do believe that the earlier articles that were referring to the murderer as William Osborne had the names off, and it was actually William Osmus and William Houston and William Hugh Osmus. I'm not sure where these Kids boys came from. I believe that they are tied into the Kidses who came to Campbell County, Tennessee from Granger County. Um, but I can't definitely pinpoint who their parents were. I did find a Reason Kids that I believe is the same one that were earlier in Granger County, Tennessee. And but I can't say for certain it's the same family. But I believe that they are connected to the Kidses from Granger County. But that's what I've got for you today on the murder of Reason and Arthur Kidds. And if you like the content of my channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. And if you hit the little bell button, you'll be notified anytime I upload any new videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.